The James situation had to be resolved. He had left Mia message after message asking her to meet him in public. He had declared his love for her, and Mia strongly suspected she was now being stalked. She had confided in Hazel, as she often did, and having taken on board the advice of her good friend, she decided on a course of action. She told James very firmly that there would be no public meeting. He would come to her place on Saturday night, just the two of them. She would allow him to speak freely, say whatever he felt he had to say, and she would respond. Once Mia informed him that she would not see him again if he refused her terms, he quickly caved in and agreed. He arrived by the front entrance and knocked politely on the door. She looked him over through the spy hole and saw that he was clean-shaven and formally dressed. She opened up and looked him up and down, as if she was considering leaving him on the doorstep. James suddenly felt nervous as hell. He hadn't had a drink in days, so there was no Dutch courage to fall back on. Mia thought he looked like a scared and lost little boy, but she didn't show her sympathy. As she turned back, she said, "Get in. Close the door behind you." They entered the living room, which James thought was nice and tidy, smelled lovely too, unlike his place, which he had been neglecting, just as he had been neglecting other areas of his life. "Sit," Mia ordered. She hadn't smiled once, or shown any signs of warmth. This kept James on edge. "I want to hear you tell me now in person, in the flesh, what you've been saying to me, in those little messages of yours. Come on, spill it. Hold nothing back," Mia said, as she sat down opposite James. He began with the words, "I love you," which came more easily than he thought they would, but when he tried to build on this, he stuttered, and Mia interrupted. "Enough. Take your clothes off." "Excuse me," James softly responded. "You're not excused," Mia snapped back. "Do as I tell you, or you leave right now, understand?" James took his jacket off and was about to remove his socks when Mia moved on him swiftly. She pulled off his tie and unbuttoned his shirt lightning fast. In seconds, she had removed his trousers and pants and had him naked and very vulnerable before her. "On your knees," she snapped. This time he was very quick to do as he was told. "Open your mouth," she ordered. She took out her member, which was almost fully erect, and asked him if this was what he wanted. He said yes, and kept repeating as she asked the question over. She then rammed her cock down his throat, making him gag immediately. She thrust into his mouth over and over. Knowing he couldn't speak, she asked him, "Do you still love me? Do you? Is this what you love, bitch? Is it? Let me hear you say it." All James could do was moan and groan as tears rolled down his cheeks. She stopped and told James not to say a word as she exited his mouth. She picked up his tie off of the floor and ordered him to open up again. He knew what was coming. She crammed it all into his mouth, threw him down on his back on the living room floor, and after brief preparation, she proceeded to fuck him hard and fast. dishing out slaps to the face as he screamed in pain. In less than a minute, she had climaxed. Quickly, she cleaned herself and her client up. Before James had the chance to get comfortable or make any small talk, Mia had picked up his clothes, dropped them on him, and told him to get dressed, as a parent who'd lost patience with a disobedient child might. James put his clothes on, his head a complete blur. He couldn't focus on any one thing. If you want to see me again, it will be on my terms, only my terms. Where I say, when I say, how I say. Understand? Said Mia. James nodded nervously. The sex worker then added, "You don't love me. You couldn't, because you don't know me. Very few people do. You're infatuated, my dear. I don't bear you any ill will for this. I've been here before. But I'm telling you now, no more silly messages, no more following me around. We're moving past that, aren't we, sweetie?" Again, James nodded. "Now get out of here. Call me in a couple of weeks. Let me know when you come in. Safe journey, babe." And with that, James left. Nothing he could say, really. She had done him over, good and proper, on all fronts. As James walked down the street towards the train station, he looked down at his tie, which was wet with saliva, and he noticed a button missing on his shirt also. He didn't much care about either of these things. For the first time in a long time, he felt fucking great. He felt exhilarated, full of energy. This abrasive therapy session had certainly done the trick. He was ready once again to take on the world.